My name is Nyokabi Macharia. I am an actor, I'm a director, I'm a producer. I consider myself a contributor to the industry as well. I am also a host, a voice actor, I do animations, and my background is in musical theatre, so I do a little bit of singing and dancing as well. And I think an all-round lover of art and life and new experiences and adventure. So I've done Selena. I say Selena because I think it's probably the most famous show that I was in. But a lot of people recognize me from my Empress. Funny enough, and I think the shows that you think people recognize you for are not the ones. You mention all these other ones, they're like, Sijui. Then you say my Empress, Zawadi. I'm like, yeah. I've done Country Queen, Chaguo, which are both on Netflix. I've done Big Mouth as a voice actor as well. I've done Twende as a voice actor. I've done Super Sema as a voice actor. Yeah, what other? County 49 and many, many others. In Daystar, I joined, my first semester, I joined DTA, Daystar Theatre Arts, and they had a musical. They were auditioning for a musical. And me, I've come from high school, I was best actress. So me, I know, listen, that lead role is mine. I don't know what you guys are here for. So I go for the auditions. And I see a friend of mine from like way back in primary school. There were two competing schools, Carroll Academy and Lions. And we were like the rival schools of like the best in drama. And I see a friend of mine who was there and I'm like, that should be my only competition in this audition. And I auditioned for it. And I auditioned for acting and singing alone. And then I get a call back. I'm like, I told y'all, like, of course, main character energy. But tell me how. When you get to the callback, they start calling out the names of, okay, the lead actor. You know, those ones you're almost standing up. Like, they haven't called, but I'm like, that must be me. And then they say someone else's name. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Let's go to probably I'm the friend of the main character. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll take that. You go to the friend. Still not me. We go down the list, they finish the actors. I'm like, why am I here? You are not, I'm a star, I'm supposed to shine. What's happening? And then they go to the singers list. I am not on the singers list. I'm like, what am I doing here? Then we go to the dancers list. I'm the first on that list. I'm like, I didn't even audition for dancing. What is wrong with you people? But we did a little bit of like a tango routine in the audition. And let me tell you, I enjoyed that tango so much. I was on stage for only 2 minutes. But damn, that 2 minutes, I killed that 2 minutes. Oh my God, I loved it. I studied public relations in Daystar. And then in my very last semester, I did a course called Afro-Caribbean and American Literature, which was being facilitated by Dr. Wandia Njoya. I think a lot of people are familiar with her from Facebook. And I remember when we were doing our CAT exams, or I think it was like a midterm or like the exam, and she told me, okay, I know you're a performer, and so I'm not gonna give you papers to write and give me answers of things. So what I want you to do is create a piece. You can create a piece about anything. I don't care what it is. It just has to be inspired by what you've learned in that class. And in that class, basically, we were learning all things slavery. Oh my God. So I watched Color Purple. I watched Roots. At that time, I was a black supremacist, if I could call it. Like, I was just like, you white people, you! Because I think it was when my mind was being opened up, because in primary school, colonization is very sanitized. It looks like it was a good thing, you know, benefits of colonization and that kind of thing. But that class really opened me up to what has happened even to me as a person, but even to us as a country at the national level. And so I wrote a one-woman show from that. And that was the first time I remember thinking, my goodness, so academics and entertainment are not exclusive of each other. You can learn and then create something that you love. Like, it can be fun to learn. And I remember being like, my goodness, university should have been like this all my life. And so going out, I felt really empowered because because as an actor, you don't get to create your own work. You're always performing people's works. And so that was the first time I was like, oh my goodness, so I could actually do my own shows. And anyway, I got an internship as an event manager. So I worked at an events company for about 3 months before I finished school. And as I was I did an internship with a film company or something like that. And then after that is when I got the events job. And while I was doing this, I was still performing. So I auditioned for a musical with a group in Karen called Karingata Amateur Dramatic Society. And basically it's a lot of expatriates just come together and they do productions. And remember, I've come from a place where I've just learned a lot about slavery. So I'm looking at these people like, you people, you've come to colonize us even now, you know? But I'm in that environment, so I also got exposed a lot to that culture of how they work because, you know, especially Brits are very good with timekeeping and also Daystar. Basi ikikama inatoka at 8, it means by 8 you're in the bus. And so a lot of like that was instilled. My discipline for performance was instilled with these productions. And then I performed with Youth Theatre Kenya. I performed with Nairobi Performing Arts Studio. We did like a set book thing, Caucasian Chalk Circle. And then I did an audition for Too Early for Birds. So they were doing the Brazen edition. This was the all women's edition. And at the time, I think I didn't even see the audition or something like that. But I met the director at KNT and she was with a friend of mine and the friend introduced me to her and she said, oh my God, do you know Nyokabi? Oh my God, she's a brilliant performer, blah, blah, blah. You should take her number, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, I would be interested. And so she called me in for the audition and I made it through. So I did Too Early for Birds. Yeah. Oh, I did Jesus Christ Superstar. Sorry, I did Jesus Christ Superstar in 2017. And I remember that's when Eric Wainaina saw me perform for the very first time. And that, a year later, is when he called me up to do Tinga Tinga. And it was like the most extraordinary thing because they remembered my performance from a year back. And that is what got me Tinga Tinga. So I always say, your current job is an audition for your next job. So take it as seriously as ever. So I did Jesus Christ Superstar and immediately I did that, I went to the UK and I was there for about 6 months. And while I was there, I worked at a theatre as a stage manager or production manager or something like that, like just assisting. It was more of an internship. And then at the end of my stay, I did a one-woman show of my experiences in the UK. And it's the first time I've traveled out of Africa. And so there's a lot of like, let me tell you, when you get into spaces with white people, you automatically shrink. Me, I think I even started stammering at some point. I was like your English, all of it disappears. So it's just, you automatically shrink and feel so intimidated. I hadn't traveled before, so I didn't even know how to explore without a great budget, because you always think that when you go to a different country, you need a lot of money to be able to explore things. So I didn't know you could be able to just see life and experience things without a lot of money. So that was a very traumatic experience, I must say, because I wasn't going to an institution, I wasn't going with an institution. And so even the platform to network with people was very limited, and I was very young as well. Because I think 22 or something. Yeah, anyway, I came back. After coming back is when I think now I eventually landed on Tinga Tinga and Too Early for Birds. That's when now that happened. And then we went to Broadway with Tinga Tinga, and it was insane. I was the youngest member in Tinga, one of the youngest members. It was me and Kendi. And I am with the goats of Kenya. I'm with Eric Wainaina, I'm with Atemi, I'm with Chris Adwar, I'm with Tetushani, Kendi. These people have like experience. And for me as a singer, I'm not that well versed or something like that. And Let me tell you, even sound check. We just go for sound check. Unasikia tu Alva na mafanya, yay! I don't want to, let's not get to me. And then it's like, okay, Nyokabi sound check. Aririri, 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 aririri. And at Atemi comes, yeah, yeah. I'm like, aririri, aririri. That was my song in the show. It was a very intimidating but like fulfilling experience where you had to come like every day before you go to work. You're like, you're beautiful, you're talented, you're great. Okay, let's get them. And it was just, but it was such an honor and a very humbling experience that I was considered to be a part of this cast with so many great people and the most talented people really that we have in the country. Yeah, and then after that, after Tinga Tinga, people assume, hey, umse akona do. Huyu kitaka huyu actor, huyu akona do manze. So I stayed without a job for how long? My goodness, I was just there at home, just like, we Nyokabi uko na do manze. And it was just like, dear Lord, I need some work. I need to whatever. Thankfully, in Tinga Tinga, I had bought a car and I put it in Uber after that, like the money that I got with Tinga Tinga. So I had some money coming in, like just I was surviving on that. And then after that is when I landed on my Empress. And after my Empress, I went to school. We're taking a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Millenial on the Move. My name is Nyokabi Macharia. The difference between acting on stage and screen for me, one, obviously for the stage, you have a lot of that audience feedback and it's immediate, it's in real time. And so it also fuels you as an actor because when you hear people cheering, hey, you feel like you need to now. In fact, one of the things or skills that you need to learn as an actor is not to be distracted by either negative or positive affirmation by the audience, because what happens is you get a bit, you're given that positive energy so much that you forget what you're supposed to do next. And so one of the things I actually had to learn in school is how to maintain the calm. Whether I'm excited, whether it's negative, I just need to maintain my calm and remember that there's something that I need to do next and that kind of thing. Yeah, and then also stage is vigorous. You know, you can't be lazy with stage. You have to do your warm-ups, you have to do your exercises. I'm a very physical actor, and as a director as well, there's a project that I directed recently, a poetry show, and by Ngatia, and it was called Diverse, and he had called in musicians to come and, you know, just be the backup and whatever. And so musicians thought they were just going to come and sing. Let me tell you, they sang, they acted, they danced, they moved, and it was just like, I don't know if this is what I signed up for. And so for me, the first 30 minutes of a rehearsal, it's so important to just, those exercises, they look like they're dumb and they look useless, but you see what it does to your body as a performer and even giving you that stamina when you're on stage, giving you that concentration and that type of thing. And so stage is very much, it's very vigorous. When it comes to TV is, one, if you're shooting something like a long-term series, so for example, a telenovela where the network expects you to produce 5 episodes in a week. And so this is not the time for you to come here and earn your Oscar award. No one is waiting for you to do that. We are just trying to finish the call sheet and go home. And so it's very fast paced. And so you have to come, even you find there's no time for warm-ups unless you're gonna do that by yourself before you come on set. There's no time. We're just trying to get 5 episodes in a week. And then obviously with that, you have to be very, there's a lot of energy required to maintain character because there's a lot of cuts in between. And so as an actor, it takes a lot of mental capacity or mental, what is it called? to commit to a scene until you finish, because there's a lot of distractions. You would find a crew member coming to tell you, hey, Sasa, hey, you know, the other day, and you were doing an emotional scene. And so you again have to get back into it. And there are a lot of technical bits that you can't stop. Maybe the card is full, or the sound is nini, or you have to wait for the plane. And so as an actor, you really, really have to make sure, and I really struggle with that because I'm a very talkative person. And so I have learned to maintain when I'm on until that scene is done. And when I say a scene can take 2 hours, 3 hours. Until it's done, it's important for you to just really keep to yourself until you finish that scene. Yeah. There's a lot of great things happening at the moment. One of the really amazing things that are happening is vernacular. You know, a lot of people are producing content in the vernacular language. We're now embracing Kiswahili and Sheng as well as a language with film and TV, because I think it got to a point where now contemporary film industry was all about, you know, the English and how well can you speak like this and that type of thing. But now we are really embracing our cultures and even the things that we're putting on TV. I think the one thing that we're really struggling with at the moment, we don't have an industry. We're still really trying to figure our way out, and that translates to the money. So what is happening is that a lot more content is being churned out, but then the money is even worse than where we were 10 years ago. And so that's a really, really big problem for us, because what does that mean then? It means as film producers and directors, mostly producers, we need to come up with more creative ways of financing, because at the moment what we have is we have a monopoly where it's one particular streaming platform that is churning all these shows. And so it's almost as if, okay, so if you're not going to produce with us, then where else? And so I don't know if that's why the money gets less and less, but there's a lot of bureaucracy. And even in the advertising world, you'll find that actors or the companies have put a budget of 1 million shillings for an actor, because remember, that's your face, and they're asking you to put this up for a year or two. And so they've budgeted maybe like 1 million shillings, but then the money goes to the agency, but what comes to the actor is 150,000 shillings. That is ridiculous. And we keep living with this because there are always new people coming in the industry. And so obviously they are in that place where they just want to make it. They just want to establish their place in the industry. And people who are at places where they're decision makers take advantage. For example, if we had a guild, that's one of our weakest points, is we keep complaining about this, but our guild is not strong. And that's why the Americans with SAG, they were able to get away with a lot, because their union means something. It means something to be in SAG. But in Kenya at the moment, doesn't mean jack to be in Kenya Actors Guild. It's just a thing that exists. But once we're able to set that up, then the union can come in and say, actually, this is a member of KAG, you cannot pay them less than this amount if you want them. And if a lot of people are in KAG, then that means it will be a standard in the industry. And so they will have no choice. Yeah. What does the future look like? We live in a world where now you can take your phone and you can produce a whole web series by yourself. And one of the things I'm really admiring with Gen Z is that they have a lot of energy, and they have, you know, they know what their right is, and they're not willing to budge. And I think maybe this is the generation that is going to, you know, change something in the industry or bring about something else. And so I'm really, really excited. And I think there's a lot of young people doing such wonderful work, and they're very committed. They're you know, someone like one of my favorite Gen Zs is Chadota, and she stage manages for a lot of our productions. But she's also, I met her as an actor, and she's a brilliant, brilliant actor. But one thing I love about Chadota is that she's also getting involved with the behind scenes of things. And so this means she will be the one employing people. I think the future looks really, really bright. I do think creatives they're doing the work that needs to be done. What is failing us is the business bit of it. We are all focusing on the creative bit of it, and we are forgetting that at the end of the day, this is a business for me. I am my own business. And so if we can get that bit, sorted out together with the policies that will strengthen the economy, then I think we're going to be at a good place. My looks on the red carpet. So, funny thing, I don't think I've always been a fashionista. I know when I was a kid, I used to I like this, I like that. But I think for the longest time in my life, I was actually a tomboy. And then it just got to a point in my life where I was like, I like this, I like this. I want to try this out. I want to do this. And this year, actually on my vision board, I've written, make a powerful fashion statement. And I think I'm in that era in my life where I'm really enjoying playing with fashion. I'm enjoying dressing up. I'm enjoying, it's like, this is the life that I wanted. And I'm so glad that I'm getting to work with, Ben. Literally, that's my tailor. His name is Ben. And I love that we're both passionate about, fashion and what that does to. And, one thing, scientifically, it's been proven, when you're in a bad mood, and you dress well, I'm telling you, it automatically lifts your spirit. And so, anytime I'm at a red carpet, I want to feel like the champion that I am, and so, I enjoy playing with fashion, and I'm hoping that I will be even more extra going forward. My mentors, I can't speak about my journey without speaking about her. It's Claudia Lloyd, who was the director for Tinga Tinga. This woman, when I auditioned for Tinga Tinga, she took up that, because auditioning, not Tinga Tinga, school. Auditioning for school is a whole project, because you have to do 2 monologues, you have to do 2 songs, you have to do a dance routine. It's a whole project. It really is a whole project. And that was so stressful, and it's very easy to just give up along the way. And when we were doing Tinga Tinga, she mentioned, Nyokabi, you should go to school. And I said to her, I actually tried applying to school the previous year and I didn't get in. And so she was like, and I had thought of applying the next year. And she was like, yeah, I think you should do it. And so she really reignited that thought or that passion to go to school. And so when I decided I'm gonna do it, this woman took up that thing like as if it was hers. She was calling me, have you gotten a monologue? Okay, if you haven't gotten, I have this book, come to my house, we'll do this. And she'll give me 2 hours of her time every week to go and rehearse. She called up Eric Wainaina to tutor me for singing. I mean, I'm being tutored by one of the greatest musicians in the country to audition for school. My mother is a best friend, a mentor. I really admire her. So she started farming last year. But now she's like she has a whole like thing going on. In fact, today they are recording her in the farm, and she's just, I'm like, she lives like she's 20 years old. I'm thinking, Mom, can you give me that energy? You think I'm energetic? My mother is like on a whole other, and she's 60. I'm like, give me that energy. So yeah, those are the peoples that have been, my solid support. But also, obviously, there's many other, but yeah. I went to Royal Central School of Speech and Drama in the UK. And I did a master's in music theatre. Yeah. A word of encouragement. Imagine, take it easy on yourself and just try, keep trying. That's what matters. It doesn't matter if it's working or not. It matters that you're showing up. And one day that is going to show. So keep showing up, right? So you can find me on Facebook, Nyokabi Macharia, or on Instagram, Nyokabi_Macharia, or on Twitter, Nyokabi Macharia with an F, or TikTok, Nyokabi Macharia. Yeah, please, let's connect. I have some fun content up in the space, okay?